Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Leaders Worldwide Speechcraft program, hosted by Heart to Heart Toastmasters Club. I am Sally Reyes, your Sergeant at Arms and a member of Heart to Heart Executive Committee. Please take out your phones and turn them to silence. Thank you. Please help me welcome our executive director of this Speechcraft. She is also a sponsor of the upcoming Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club, chartering in October 2020.
Oh, no, I don't. Thank you.
She serves as a finance manager for District 57, as well as secretary of Heart to Heart Toastmasters Club. The indomitable Linda Patton. Take it away, Linda.
Thank you, Sally, so very, very much. It's a pleasure to be here and to welcome all 50 of you to this session of Speechcraft. We are 51 as I can see right now. It is our 5th session, and it's really exciting to have you all here from all over the country, all over the world. And I thank those of you who got up really early this morning to be with us here at Speechcraft. I would like to remind you about the rules for using Zoom. If at all possible, be muted when you're not speaking. So that helps us with bandwidth. Also, if it appears that we're having difficulty with bandwidth, if you would also mute your camera, that would also be spectacular. You will be in breakout rooms. The level 1 people will be staying in the main room. Level 2 and 3 will be breaking out into breakout rooms so that they can give speeches and education and that kind of thing. So I'm really excited about today. And I think I've given you sort of a look at what we're going to do. We have Carolyn Douglas, who is going to talk to us about body language. Cynthia Stott not only is going to talk about stage presence, but she's also going to tell us what body language is, and she's going to give us an observation of Carolyn's body language as well. So that's our first hour. The second hour is all about you. So I'm really excited to make this Speechcraft happen. And with that, I'm going to ask Miss Cynthia Stott if she would give us some information about the new club, Leaders Worldwide. Cynthia?
Thank you, Linda. I'm so excited. So we're going to be starting finally in October with the new club, Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. And we're going to probably charter by October 15th or somewhere thereabout. And then we're going to start with our first session, which is on October 19th. It will be the evening section like we're having today, 5:45 to 8 p.m. Pacific San Francisco time. And then we're going to alternate on weeks. So some people won't have to get up at 2:45 in the morning to listen to us. And we'll be meeting on, I believe the next week is the 25th, that last week of October, the last Monday. And we will be meeting at 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific San Francisco time. So a little easier for Africa, Europe, and Middle East folks to join us. Awesome. And if you want to speak, you want to be one of our VIP members who speaks a prepared speech in the breakout session, and or if you want to be a charter member with Leaders Worldwide, which stays with you for a lifetime, even if you no longer are a member of the club or even a member of Toastmasters, you still will be a charter member of Leaders Worldwide if you want to participate in that. And or speak your prepared speeches, please email me at cynthiastottdtm@yahoo.com. I'll put that in the chat. cynthiastottdtm@yahoo.com to let me know you want to be a part of our VIP group and the new Leaders Worldwide. Okay, back to you, Linda.
Thank you, Cynthia, so very much. I know the reason that I got into Toastmasters was because of Leaders Worldwide, and that was last August. So it's such a thrill to know that that the club is actually going to launch in October. I am so excited. So our next piece is, and I'm going to remind you that you can ask questions or make comments on Cynthia's new presentation in the chat. And Michelle Piticola will be monitoring that. And at the end of Cynthia's speech, we'll start asking those questions and making those comments. So let me tell you a little bit about Cynthia. She's a DTM and she started Toastmasters in May of 2007. She's an international speech coach and global visibility influencer with 30,000 followers in over 140 countries. She lives and was born in San Francisco. She was area director in 2018 and is now an assistant division director in Oakland, located across the bay from San Francisco. Her journey as head cheerleader and founder of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club, chartering in October 2020, as she said, started in February 2018 when the mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf, visited Heart to Heart Toastmasters Club, the host of this Speechcraft, and we met for 10 weeks at Oakland City Hall and now are virtual and global as Leaders Worldwide Speechcraft. On this episode, Cynthia will share secrets that she has taught her award-winning speaker clients in 3 Secrets to World-Class Stage Presence. Cynthia Stott, 3 Secrets to World-Class Stage Presence. And can we pin Mona as the client?
Oh, I can pin her too on my side. I don't know, can you guys pin her?
I don't think we can.
I think it's only me that can pin her. Oh, there's so many people on here. I can't find Mona. Mona, what does your picture look like?
It looks like a clock.
Oh, it's the clock one. Okay, for some reason, I am not seeing her.
If you're host, you would be able to do that.
What was that, Mona?
It's a light blue screen.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing it. Ah, here you are. There you are. Okay, great. Awesome.
Cynthia, you're muted.
Oops. Oh, thank you. Ready to start. First thing, unmute yourself. Stage presence. You have to be heard. We're going to start off with a volunteer. And Linda, if you want to take a look and see who the volunteer is, a very special volunteer. Now, if you have something in your presentation where you ask a question, how many of you have ever been to Paris? How many of you are parents? Whatever it is, the question that you have, how many of you? Please raise your hand and you will be our volunteer guest today and get a lot of coaching around your question. Because you may think, well, a question, how does that make a difference in your speech? But it's very, very powerful. So any volunteers yet for a question? How many of you?
I've got all muted pictures.
All muted pictures. Okay. Well, somebody unmute your picture. And if I don't have a volunteer, I can call on somebody, but they've already been through my program, so they know.
Swarna is there. Swarna's got her.
Swarna! Hey, can you spotlight Swarna, please? Hi,
Sure.
Swarna.
Hi.
Can you spotlight her? Oh, great. Great. Welcome, Swarna. I'm so glad that you're a volunteer today. And what powerful questions you have. So start with introducing your name and anything about you, and then your powerful question, how many of you, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, good morning. Actually, it's good morning from Singapore. I'm from Singapore, and I am a VIP member for this event. And thanks so much to Cynthia and Linda for that. My question that actually I have for my speech today is, what is your blueprint?
What is your what?
Blueprint.
Blueprint. So what I'm looking for, what I'm looking for is some question that can you say, how many of you? So maybe say, how many of you have a blueprint? Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so try that.
How many of you know what is your blueprint?
Great, awesome. And the reason I'm asking you to ask that question in that how many of you is because I actually want to switch that to you. Do you know your blueprint? So try
Yes.
that. You know your blueprint.
Do you know your blueprint?
Awesome. So that's number one. And actually, that's one of the most tricky ways, because when we look at an audience, we don't see one person. We see 50 today or 5,000. But if we use the words you in asking a question or talking about something, then everyone in the room will feel it's them. And instead of looking around the room, they're going to focus on their own. So I have an example of this. How many of you have ever been to Paris? Feel how that feels. Yeah, and you're raising your hand. Have you ever been to Paris? And see if there's a difference between those two. What are you feeling, Swarna, when I ask those differently?
One is like probably a closed-ended. It's either a yes or a no, and then the other one I don't know what to say. It's quite confusing.
Have you ever been to Paris?
Yeah. Have you? Yeah. So I don't know whether to say. I don't know how to answer that.
You don't know
second
how to
one.
Interesting. Okay. How many of you versus, okay, because most people will actually, when we ask how many, they're going to look around the room for other people. But when you ask, have you ever been to Paris, you're going to answer that, and maybe you'll even see the Eiffel Tower in your mind.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So using you instead of how many of you. So
okay,
yours
okay.
is, do you know your blueprint? Do you want to say that again?
Do you know your blueprint?
Okay, great. So that's the first one. Second secret is pause. Pausing is so important. Pausing is like the frame to a beautiful picture. Imagine the Mona Lisa without any picture at all set on the floor. It's very different than the beautiful frame that you place it in with a place of honor. So the pause before and after an important phrase or an important question is very, very powerful. So if you say something, so in your case, you would say, do you know your blueprint? Do you see how that's different than do you know your blueprint?
Yes. Yes, I get it. Yeah.
So try it with some pauses there and let's see the difference.
Do you know your blueprint?
Beautiful. And the pause after it is so important. So if I were to say to you, share with me a really important event that occurred for you when you were a child. And then I started talking about my important event that happened when I was a child, and it kept going on. It's very rude. People feel like, oh, you don't really want to know about me. You want to talk about you. So when you pause after, it really helps for them to digest it and to actually answer that question in their head, even if it's rhetorical, And that's so important because when they are answering your question or they're thinking about their childhood event that caused a big shift in their life, they're with you right there. And they're already a part of your story. So then when you start to talk about, well, let me share what my story, what my event was, and maybe you had something similar, and then you talk about it, and then you really get them in the room. So very, very important to pause after you ask a question and give them time to answer it in their head. So pausing. How are you feeling about pausing, Swarna?
It's good. See, what happens, I think, when we do, especially in Toastmasters, when we are doing a speech, we are so conscious of time.
Yes.
I think, but the fact that you say connect with them by pausing is a very good tip for me. And I will try it out today.
Yes, you'll try it out today. I love it. I love it. And yes, we can be very concerned about time, especially if we have a contest, because we can't, like if it's an international speech contest, we have up to 7 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a 7-minute speech, but we have 30 seconds over. If you go over even a millisecond over that 7 minutes, 30 seconds, you are disqualified. So it's really means a lot, especially at a contest. And we just practice it at other times. But at contests, it really, really means a lot. But pausing can make such a huge difference. Let me share with you one of my colleagues that is a non-native English speaker, and he worked at Cisco, and he did his presentation, his Toastmasters presentation, and he had 3 points. He gave his first point, and then, he forgot his second point completely went out of his head. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, it does happen.
Me too. So he had been taught to just pause and it will come to you. So he paused, he didn't open his mouth. He didn't say, oops, oh no, I forgot my topic. He paused. And then he remembered it. He said his second point, and then he told that point, and then he went to his third point, and then he went to his conclusion, and he was done. Well, then his evaluator walks in, and he's thinking, oh my gosh, my evaluator is going to say, oh, lost your point, right? Did you forget what you were supposed to say? That was a very long pause. No, that's not what his evaluator said. Here's what he said. Great pause between points 1 and point 2. That really landed for me, and I was able to digest the information. What happened between points 2 and 3 and between 3 and your conclusion? I would love to hear more pauses.
Okay.
Very interesting. And he was also a non-native English speaker. And I would say one of the key points in having yourself heard as a non-native English speaker is to pause. Pause between your points. Pause even between your sentences, and pause between your phrases.
Okay.
Now, maybe you're thinking, oh, but I'm not going to be able to say as much, but it's going to mean more. And this is actually how Bill Clinton became such a powerful speaker, because he used to have lots of ums and ahs and filler words, and he put pauses into his speeches purposefully. So he would pause, and then when he wanted to say an or an ah, which really discredits you, he would pause. So take a tip from Bill Clinton and pause.
Okay. Yeah. I like this idea that, you know, non-English speakers, because I come from that space. So maybe our accent or is different from the audience. So to pause and use it effectively, give them time to understand. That's a very good tip for me.
Yeah, there's a long distance between the ear and the brain. And pauses helps bridge that gap. And it not only will help people to understand you more, you will also seem more credible, more confident, and people will think you really know what you're saying. Maybe you don't say a lot because you don't have a lot of time in your speech, but it's really important what you do say.
Okay, get it.
And that's really important for humor too. You have to pause after your humor. They say don't step on your laugh. Allow your audience to laugh. So pause, say a joke or something funny, and you just pause and let them laugh. And this is also for speech contests where you're really down to that millisecond. So Darren LaCroix is one of my mentors that I learned from, and he was a world championship of public speaking winner on Ouch, where he had so many laughs built in that he actually planned for laughing time to be 45 seconds in his 7-minute speech. So he made sure to pause, to stop, and not have too much material. He only had about 6 minutes, 15 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever that is, minus 45 seconds. So he would look at 7:15. So he probably stopped at 6 minutes, 30 seconds of content and then allowed the laughter to happen. And someone raised their hand and said, but this is a contest speech. How can you do that? And he said, how you're going to win the contest is letting people laugh. And if you step on your laughs and don't let them pause and laugh, they're going to think you don't want them to laugh and they will stop laughing. And with a large audience, a few people laugh, and then a few more people laugh, and more people laugh, and it becomes a wave of laughter. And you have to plan for that and allow for that. So pausing is powerful. Tip number 2. Okay. Number 3. Ready for it, Swarna?
Yes, I am.
Eye contact. Eye contact is so important. And I know culturally it can be offensive or aggressive if you're doing strong eye contact. So I call it soft eye contact. So looking into the camera very softly, not staring at them, right? Furrowing your brow, but gently looking into the camera so that you're looking directly at them. And the hard part about that is that if I'm looking directly at the camera, I can't see myself except for peripherally, but I can kind of tell if I'm looking into the camera or not. So Swarna, I'm going to count to 5 very slowly and have you look into the camera, and we're going to get some experience from you. And also those in the chat, please put in the chat your experience of Swarna's eye contact with you. Okay, great. Now, Swarna, so look at your camera, find your camera. Okay, good. You want to put your glasses up a little bit so we can see your beautiful eyes? There we go. And look directly into the camera, and I'm going to count out loud 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. And maybe that's long, huh? How did that feel?
I can't see myself, so I really don't know how I looked.
Beautiful. Actually, someone just said lovely. They thought that was really lovely. Yeah. Okay. So how did you feel, though, looking into the camera like that? What was your sensation?
Especially virtually, I think because we are looking into a camera, I can't see how my expressions come across. And we are not able to see what the other person is also feeling. But I guess virtually we need to learn this skill.
Yes, absolutely. And Michelle, would you mind reading a few of the comments about the eye contact there? That would be great, just to give us a reflection back here.
Sure. So one of them said, lovely. And the other one said, looks like you are looking at me, very natural. And that was Marika Reagan. And Kathleen Phillips said, lovely. So yeah, they like that you're looking into the camera. It really does work.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay. Can I ask, you mentioned about soft So I want to understand, when does someone feel I'm looking, I mean, I'm not staring, but I'm looking, because for me, I feel I'm staring at the camera. So how do we know whether it's a
And it's
soft
practice.
vision? Yeah.
It's practice, and look in the mirror. It's
Oh, okay.
if I'm looking at you like this and intense, okay, that's a little strong. Maybe that looks threatening. But if I just open my eyes and I'm looking at you softly, and I'm being receptive and allowing you to see me, does that feel? Yeah. Beautiful. So we're at the red light. I want you one more time with pauses and eye contact to say your beautiful question.
Do you know your blueprint?
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's give her a round of applause. Woohoo! Yay, Sarna! Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, and I think if you had any questions, we have a couple minutes left for questions.
Yep. So let's see. Whoops. I'm going to spotlight you back again there, Cynthia.
Yes.
Mohammed Rahman said, in India's subcontinent, people tend to focus hearing the main points and often impatient to wait or digest what the speaker is saying. I feel that forces me to go fast and lose control of the planned pauses.
Interesting. And perhaps when you're speaking, if you're a non-native English speaker and you're speaking English, but to another group that has a similar accent to you, maybe they can digest it better. But if you're speaking to a diverse group, it's really important to pause and try it. Give it a try and see how it feels for you. And when you are pausing, have that energy, like I said, of being receptive. Almost as if you're listening in to the audience. And you'll find that this is a technique used by many spiritual leaders and politicians so that people feel, he hears me, he gets me, he wants to know who I am and what I want. So give it a try.
So let's see, Ken Colm Cohort, he said, Swarna had a great smile while she was giving good eye contact. And Swarna said, thank you so much for encouraging me to step out of my comfort zone.
Beautiful.
So are there any other questions for Cynthia? Any questions about the things she suggested? So Jan Robinson said, I like Cynthia's point about having eye contact with the intention to be receptive and open too. It feels warm, inviting, and connecting. And Shabana has a question. She said, do you practice the pause even if you are giving an interview?
Oh, absolutely, in an interview. In an interview, it should be a banter back and forth. And actually, I have a colleague that has podcasts and internet TV and all of that. And she won't invite you back if you don't pause after you talk so that she can say something and take it deeper. So when you pause in an interview, you allow the interviewer to go deeper with you.
Okay, Cynthia, thank you so very, very, very much.
Nope. Okay. Yes. Thank you
for this presentation. It was spot on, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. With that, Cynthia, don't leave us, because you're going to do a preview of body language.
Oh, yes. Awesome. So body language is so important. And in fact, it is what 38% of what we share with people is body language, and only 7% are our words. So more important to focus on your body language in some ways than your words. Now, you don't want to forget your words because they're the foundational piece of your presentation. And if you're building a house, your foundation of your house is about 7%. So you wouldn't want to go and decorate the windows without putting in the foundation first. So you want that foundation, but it's very minimal compared to your body language and your tone and your voice. Body language can be your physical body. It can also be your facial expressions. Now, maybe you all have heard of Julia Roberts, the Academy Award-winning actress of Pretty Woman. She is an amazing actress. She tried stage acting, and she thought she would do well. I don't know if she got booed off the stage, but she got certainly booed by the reviewers because she's used to her close-up. She's used to all of her expression being close up and seen, the nuances. And when she was on the stage, they couldn't see that. She needed bigger gestures so that more people could see it and feel it way in the back. And even your makeup is different because you want to line out your eyes and your mouth and your cheeks more predominantly because you want people to see them. So let's watch as Carolyn does her presentation, her facial expression, her body language, and also the use of the stage. Does she use left and right, front and back, a 3D visit to the entire stage? So Linda, please welcome our next speaker, and you can all make your observations and put them in the chat, questions for her, but also observations on how her body language affected you and receiving her information.
Thank you, Cynthia, so very much. Let me tell you about Carolyn J. Douglas. She's been a Toastmaster since 2012 when she joined Easy Speak Toastmasters in San Francisco while employed with the Federal Civil Service as an environmental scientist. Her responsibilities required her to convene and conduct public meetings, give scientific presentations, and facilitate helping communities to address environmental concerns in their neighborhoods. She joined Toastmasters to improve her communication skills and more specifically, to hone her listening skills. She found that sometimes when interacting in conversations, that her responses to questions posed to her were not as satisfactory as they could have been. So she decided to focus on improving her listening skills through the Toastmasters Communications Program. Since that time, she's earned the Advanced Communications Gold, the Advanced Leadership Bronze levels in the Toastmasters Legacy Educational Program, which has been shelved at this point in time. In Pathways, which is what we're working on, she has completed both the Motivational Strategies and Presentation Mastery Pathways. This year, she will complete the Effective Coaching and Dynamic Leadership Pathways and expects to receive her Distinguished Toastmasters Award. Congratulations, Carolyn. In terms of leadership, Carolyn has served in several club officer roles within her clubs and as an area director and club coach co-chair within District 57. She's a member of Toast of Richmond Toastmasters Club, Healthy Toasts, and Toastmasters Leadership Club. Currently, she's serving as a division director in the Oakland, California area. In her personal life, she's a thought leader and assists nonprofit organizations in building their leadership capabilities and capacity. She believes in heart-based living and is willing to lend a helping hand. Carolyn J. Douglas, Yes I Can 2020. Yes I Can 2020, Carolyn J. Douglas.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests. In a certain railroad yard, there stood an extremely heavy train that had to be drawn up a steep incline, a slope, a heavy grade slope. And it was needful for it to go up over this hill so that it could reach its final destination and deposit the goods that it was carrying. Now, this hill, once again, was very, very unusually high and upward. The superintendent of the railroad yard was not sure whether or not he had the best equipment or even the right equipment to help this heavy train move its load. But he was determined to find some way of resolving this problem. So he went out to the yard and he looked to see what was available to him. And he saw this large, strong engine sitting there. And he goes to the engine and he says, "Can you pull this train up that hill?" And the strong engine looks and he says, "That's a pretty heavy slope. No, I can't do it. No, not for me." The superintendent was a little surprised. He looked around and he saw there was another great engine sitting in the yard, and he asked that engine, "Can you pull this train up that hill?" And this one says, "Oh my, that's a really heavy train. No, that's not for me. I just don't think that's for me." So again, this superintendent was really surprised at the response. But once again, he was resolving to solve that problem. So as he looked around the yard, he saw, oh my God, a brand new, spanking new engine just sitting there. And he says to himself, "Oh, what the heck? Can you pull that heavy train up that hill?" Oh, this little engine says, "I can. I think I can. Yes, I think I can." Oh, this made the superintendent so extremely happy. And he gave that engine the order to get started and to move itself over to the heavy train, do the connection and the coupling so it could get that heavy train up over that hill. Well, as the little train began to move along the rails, it said, "I think I can. I think I can. I think I can." And it made the coupling and it got itself all situated with that heavy train, and it began to move out on its journey. And with each rolling of the wheel, it said, "I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can." And soon he was starting to move up the incline, the ascent of the hill, and you could hear his voice getting fainter and the words getting slower. And the little train, the little engine said, "I think I can. I think I can." And he kept going on in that way until he was just about at the very top of the hill. And the voice was so strained, but filled with lots of determination. "I think and at the very top of the hill, he was at the top of the hill. All of a sudden, over the hill, the engine said, "Can! I think I can. I think I can." Oh, and the words changed to, "I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could. I thought I could." Oh, if the little engine rejoiced, and it carried that heavy engine all the way over the hill and down across the flatlands to the heavy train's destination. What a triumph. The story that I shared with you, "The Little Engine That Could," was written by Waddy Piper. And it's a beautiful little story that I use in my life from time to time, because we have challenges that crop up in our life. And sometimes we don't feel like we want to meet the challenge. Are you with me there? John F. Kennedy had a desire for the United States of America to go to the moon. And he asked his chief scientist, "What do we need to do to get to the moon?" And the reply was, "We must have the willingness." Read that in. We must have the willingness. Yes. For us to do anything, You have to have the willingness to take the action to do the thing that you want to experience, to have the experience of becoming. How many of you want to become a better communicator? How many of you want to be a better leader? How many of you just want to be the very best that you could possibly be? Well, for that to happen, you must take an action for that to start coming about. Let me share my own personal story. As stated in my biography there, I had a desire to be a much better communicator. And one way of doing that, I had to go out and handle public meetings, be a participant as well as convene. Everything that had to do with the public meeting, I had to be a part of it. And at one specific public meeting, it was my responsibility to give a report on analytical data from soil samples collected at a school property to share that information with the public. I'm taking a pause to breathe here because that's a significant event in my life. When it was my time to give my report, the cameras turned on me. The floodlights of the cameras and all of the floodlights were there. And I was called on to speak. My senses flew to the four winds. My spirit fell out of my body, fainted on the floor, and my body paralyzed. Somehow or another, my mouth started working and a sound came out, and I shared the information somehow. The point is, I didn't like my performance, but I did get out the information that the people were there to hear. I scored myself 0.1 on a scale of performance because I was able to deliver only the message. The performance was awful. And as it turned out, I had to go back and do a follow-up meeting, but I was determined that that was not going to be the same experience. When I returned to work the next day, it was suggested to me, perhaps I could get some help by going to the Toastmasters Club that was right there in my building. Guess what? I found my way to that meeting, and I had an awesome time in that meeting because there I was able to speak with my peers, people that I didn't know, but yet they were my peers, and they were helping me move through that process of developing the confidence to speak in the public arena. I had to take the action to be available, to be in the public arena, to have my communication get better and better. My story ties into this little story, the little engine that could, because each time I had to go to a public meeting of any kind, I said to myself, I think I can. I think I can. And then I said, oh, I thought I could. I thought I could. And then the day came when I said, oh, I got this. I know I can. I know I can. And yes, now today I actually say, yes, I can. It's 2020 and I can do it now. John F. Kennedy once again had some amazing stuff to share with us about that moonshot, about going to the moon. And I would love to quote that particular quote with you where he said, I'll paraphrase it, he says, we go to the moon not because this thing is easy or not because this thing is hard. Yes, it may be hard, but we do these challenges because we want to be able to do that, and we should be unwilling not to do what's there for us to do. Now, I paraphrased it. Those are not the exact words, but that's the sentiment. What I'm saying to you today is that you're here for a Toastmasters presentation, I invite you to take the challenge. Yes, I believe you can. Toastmaster.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Woo! And Michelle, I'm going to do the Q&A because I'm going to interweave it with the questions to Carolyn, and also your comments about her body language and how that made her speech even more powerful. So great. So I'm going to get to the chat here. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was phenomenal. Yes, I can do it now. Thanks for the lovely story and vocal variety. That was awesome. You were supposed to focus on, on body language, but you are a Toastmaster and then you incorporated the vocal variety. Carolyn, this was such a treat. Your command of gestures, your beautiful voice, and storytelling. Great job. Thank you. Such a wonderful storyteller, Carolyn. Let's see if we have any questions here. Super awesome. That was amazing. That was phenomenal. Let's see. That was such a treat. Your command of gestures, your beautiful voice, and storytelling are extraordinary. Carolyn seems to have mastered the use of space while on a virtual meeting. That's not easy. Many people struggle with this, and sometimes even lighting or the room being used can make it impossible to do. Her speech is a great example and a lesson on how to do it. Great. Let's see. Any questions here for Carolyn? Let's see. This is a great example of how to use body language to add impact to the delivery of one's message. This speech, without the body language and diversity of voice tone, would have lost a lot of its magic. Absolutely true. Yes, we can. Let's see. And Julia's Broadway production was canceled after several weeks of poor sales. Okay, yeah, that was from mine. Okay, let's go down to, and probably because she focused on facial expressions rather than body expressions. So I loved how, Carolyn, how you incorporated body language and facial expressions in this. And you used front and back the screen. You moved back, you moved to the front. It was very, very 3D, and we felt like you were right there with us. It was so beautiful. Okay, beautiful presence, Lynn says. Just wonderful energy. What do you think about the transition from story to your story and the change of energy? So can you respond to that one, Carolyn?
Yes, I personally feel like it was important to have much more of a pause. I planned a pause, which wasn't as long as I wanted it to be, because I was in the energy of movement. So I was going with the flow. But I feel that I could have paused a little bit longer in that regard. But it's important for me to connect my story to the one that I shared, because the Little Engine That Could story is an allegory that teaches a lesson. So it was necessary to link my story to the shared one.
Beautiful. And you did it wonderfully, really, really wonderfully. Okay, and there's just a few more here. I think we're on the yellow. Question. Oh, we're at the end. I'll just put it out. And, Carolyn, you can get a copy of the chat and respond to people too. But I'll just say this last one. It's 2020. Carolyn now can. Just awesome. How long did it take you to build your confidence?
Okay, I have to say this really quickly. I was a scientist in the laboratory, in the basement, in the back, in the dark. My maximum audience was about 5 people. So coming out to speak to 10, I was told that by the human resource officer, we will teach you to speak. We will teach you to talk.
Awesome. Congratulations. Great job. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster Linda.
Thank you both, Carolyn and Cynthia. That was an awesome example of outstanding body language and, of course, vocal variety as well. I mean, the speech was spot on, Miss Caroline. Okay, now is our time for a break. You're going to have a 5-minute break, at which time you will come back and I will break you out into rooms. Mona, will you please put 5 minutes on the clock for me? And looking at our time, I have 6:50. We want you back by 6:55, and we'll see you then.
Great. And I'll add my email for anyone who wants to be a VIP speaker and present in the next breakout rooms. Of course, you won't be able to present tonight, but we can do it for next week. And you can also find out how to become a charter member of the Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club, which is chartering in October 2020. So let me put that in there. It's Cynthia Stott, CynthiaStottDTM @yahoo.com. And I'll go ahead and put that in. Enjoy your break.
Tony? Hi, Tony. Are you there?
I'm
You're
here.
looking for
Looking
Hey,
for me?
Tony, can you please respond to, can you please respond to my message in private chat, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the chat.
Thank you.
How long ago, what time did you do that?
Oh, okay. I need the speech title of yours.
Yeah, just give me the time that you mailed that and I'll make sure I cover everything. Leaders can't be followers anymore is the title.
Leaders cannot be followers.
Any longer.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
Oh, no. Thank you.
Do you want me to send the evaluation to whoever's going to be evaluating it?
Oh, yes, please. Archie will be evaluating you.
Who will?
Archie? Archie, can you please turn on your video?
Tony, it will be L1 Archie, not the other Archie. Okay, there's two. They make so look for L1 Archie and send the evaluation. Actually, he has the evaluation form already. I already sent him. It's about second speech, right? For evaluation and feedback.
Yes.
He got the form. No worry.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Archie. How you doing?
Oh, it's me, Ishrat.
Oh, Isha. Sorry. Got it confused. Sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you, Ishraf.
You're welcome, Tony. All the best for your speech.
Thank you.
So are we already in our breakout room?
Oh, no, we will be in the main room.
Okay.
We're still in the main room.
Oops.
And I just put my
Ishrath, if you want to unspotlight us, is that what you would like?
Can I start the session?
Not, did we get everybody out?
I think so.
Yes, we got you all out. No, I've got a couple people still hanging out there. Okay, and I want to give you, hang on.
Okay, Linda, this is Sandra. Which one?
You're fine. You're where you're supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
Ishra. I'm going to make you co-host. Ishra.
Yes, please. You can make me co-host.
There you go.
Excuse me, my Zoom crashed when breakout meetings were being done. So can you add me to the right breakout room?
Allison, are you supposed to be in 3? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I just now have to find you. There you are. Sign 2. And last one, so breakout. Okay. I think
Okay,
it's all
Linda.
yours.
You can
Ishra.
start with this.
And the recording
Thank
started.
you. Thank you. Welcome to session 5 of Leaders Worldwide Workshop. Let us welcome you all. Our sponsor, Lola Patton, Executive Director, Linda Patton, timer, Ifang Zheng, and all the participants. Here is the deal with Project 2. You are given 3 tasks in one project. Project 1, first task. The first task is to present another speech. Last week we have done this assignment. Congratulations all on completing it successfully. I believe you all have submitted your, I believe that you all have received the feedback from the evaluators. Here comes the second part. That is the second task. This is a second 5 to 7 minute speech after the evaluation of your first speech. Take that advice and apply it to your speech and modify it to improve it. Or listen to their suggestions about your speech and presentation skills. You're going to repeat your speech, which is improved. Make sure you bring your first speech evaluation with you so that evaluator will know what was suggested as a refresher. Moving ahead with our demo speech today. Let me call our evaluator for today to evaluate Tony Taher's speech. Archie, can you please help us with the path, project, purpose, and the speech timing?
I wasn't sent any of the information, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. No worries. So this is the evaluation part 2 for evaluation and feedback. Let me introduce our demo speaker, Tony Taher. The title of his speech is Leaders Cannot Be Followers Anymore. Leaders Cannot Be Followers Anymore, Tony Taher. Tony Taher's speech is of 5 to 7 minutes. Timer, are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have timer?
I'm not timer. So you can see my push background and colors. Yeah.
Okay, so Tony, can you see Archie Upari?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, let me rename him. Now can you see him?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, please spin the timer. Tony, you may start your speech. All the very best.
Thank you, Ishrat. Good evening, everybody. My topic tonight is on leadership. I'm one who imagines and promotes a world with a new kind of leadership, one that dispenses with all the old school approaches to managing and team building that keep work feeling tedious and demeaning, frustrating. Tonight, I'll share with you my prescription and my vision for how we got into this leadership fix, why we must and easily can get out of it, and what this new world of leadership will look like. The problem with traditional leadership is that it just will not cut it anymore. It turns out that leaders are the worst kind of followers. They simply settle for what they were taught by an earlier generation of leaders and keep doing the same thing. They follow the past and they adopt a role that leaders in simpler and earlier times might have gotten away with. But the approaches of the past will no longer work in this more VUCA world that we live in. The word I'm using is VUCA. It's V-U-C-A. It's an abbreviation for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. In today's world, we never know what's going to hit us or when. And leaders who follow the old school way of doing things can never really call on the full potential or full participation of the people who they ostensibly command. Competition has escalated rapidly in the last 25 years. More nations have entered the global economy, people have higher expectations, and social and environmental concerns have created new limitations in what we can and must do. Things get harder and harder. And to get ahead in this VUCA world, we need to have a larger game, and we have to have more game. We have to individually be more capable. That is the challenge of leadership. So where we're coming from and why we have this problem is that traditional work culture can be dispiriting and even too demeaning to some people. Sure, there are the stars, the winners, the go-getters who seem to have it all together, and we may celebrate them or aspire to be like them, but we also end up leaving a lot of people behind. The spirit of the workplace can be stressful, lonely, discouraging, and often unhappy. It strikes me as odd because what leaders almost universally say is they want three things from their people. They want results, innovation, and emotional engagement, because these are the prescription for dealing with a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. We need everyone on the same page, pulling together and bringing their best game to the game. So it turns out that the old school ideas about leadership, about commanding and controlling and dictating and imposing and structuring and evaluating, don't line with the parts of our brain that bring out our best. Managers, which is what I call the people who are in charge, who are not leaders, seem to think that their teams are going to magically fulfill these new demands without really changing what they do. They have to be themselves innovative and results-driven and watch what's happening. And to just tell their people that they want them to be more creative and produce better results won't cut it. The people won't know how to do that. So this is why we need to do things differently in the new world to meet the challenges that we all face together. What leaders can start to do to meet this challenge is to pay attention to what neuroscience has been producing over the last 25 years. There's a remarkable new awareness of how humans behave and what makes us thrive. And what makes us thrive are two primary fundamentals about human nature. One is that we are wired to interlace into social networks that feel good, where we recognize and tap into one another's talents and accept and rely on the gifts of the group rather than being on our own in a difficult social climate. But the second one is that we perform at our best when we're happy, when we feel good, when we rise above negative feelings like stress and worry and start to experience positive things on a daily basis like flow and acceptance and assurance and inspiration and thankfulness. So the way that we can restructure our workplace and what it will look like is that we can overcome the VUCA nature of the competitive world by working together in social structures that are nothing like the traditional work team. Businesses have been extolling the potential of the traditional work team for years, hoping that somehow having people work together would get them out of their competitiveness and anxiety. But human brains are wired to engage and pull together in what I might call tribes, social units that bond together, that celebrate and lift each other up into better moods because they all have the same goal together. And when somebody comes in a bad mood, if the objective of the team is to bring them into a good mood, they all do better. And they start to enjoy having that support from the group. And that is the fundamental role of the leader, is to not get the work done and tell people how to do it, but to attend to what the social climate is like so that people feel good when they get to work and they feel buoyant, excited, and energized when they leave at the end of the day. So in the new world, the leader will attend to the social climate of the team or the tribe, and the members of the tribe will look to getting the work done and figuring out among themselves how best to do it. It really takes the leader out of the day-to-day work entirely. So thank you very much for your time tonight, and I look forward to you joining me in a new world of leadership.
Thank you, Tony. That was a very insightful speech. 1 minute of silence for evaluator to make note. Timer, please help. Timer, are you there?
Yeah, so the timer is 7 minutes, 20 seconds. I sent in the chat.
Oh, no. Are you timing 1 more minute for evaluator to give the evaluation?
No, just speech. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay, let me move ahead. Moving ahead with our second segment, evaluation of Tony Tahir's speech by Archie. Archie was born in Fremont and moved to San Ramon when he was 3 years old. 10 years later, he moved to Dublin, California. His greatest achievement in the public speaking world include getting 2nd place in 6th grade and 3rd place in 7th grade. He was also elected class representative 4 years in a row. Archie loves to animate and create Minecraft videos on YouTube. Archie, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Timer, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The time for the evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes. Let us welcome Archie.
That was a very informative speech about leadership. I truly understood how leadership can help in my personal lives just by listening to this magnificent speech. It was also very scientific, talking about the different parts of the brain and using extremely impressive vocabulary. And it also helped everyone understand. For example, if the speaker said, neurological scientific examination, he made the vocabulary a little less complex so people like me can understand. Secondly, I would like to see the speakers stand up moving forward, because standing up makes the speech more professional, even though we're not in front of a real life podium right now. We can always stand up to signify that we are professionals and we are true leaders. Standing up also helps use the space provided, even though I noticed that there isn't that much space behind you. I feel that at least standing up and moving your camera a little back can help you seem more professional. Thirdly, I noticed that our speaker did not have that many hand gestures. He had a couple, but not many. In his next speech, I would like to see more hand gestures, because hand gestures can signify what you're trying to speak. For instance, if I say, and if I'm not that clear, if I go on talking about a rainbow, you won't understand. But if I signify a rainbow with my hands, you can truly understand that I'm signifying a rainbow. And this helps the audience understand what I'm talking about. I really loved the well-structured speech with the super smooth transitions. It was basically like butter. And I also really liked the vocal variety that our speaker used, and it wasn't monotone. And I also loved the amazing eye contact, which I like to measure by notes to camera ratio. Our speaker didn't stare at his notes the whole time, but he had a good ratio of looking at his notes and looking at the green dot on his screen throughout the entire speech. Overall, this was a wonderful speech, and I truly look forward to listening for more. Thank you.
Thank you, Archie. The evaluation was loud and clear. It emphasized on tips and improvements for Tony to take his speech to the next level. Evaluation of the evaluator by our advisor, Ken, which is a teaching moment. Ken is on level 4 and has done his competent communicator and competent leader, and he has been the president of FAT Toastmasters in Newark, California, twice, and is currently the secretary. Ken, are you ready?
I am ready.
Timer, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, the time for the evaluation is 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Archie, great job giving a very thorough and precise evaluation. Loved it. And I loved how you stood instead of sitting. That was a great example of the evaluation that you were giving. And you also used it in your evaluation. So awesome job doing that. I also liked how you had 3 different points all the way through your evaluation. You started first off with the good points that you thought this speech had with the information. That was awesome. Then you went to the second part, which were the improvements. You talked about hand gestures, and you used your hands to signify the rainbow, to exemplify what you meant by using good hand gestures. And you also talked about how you like the good eye contact. So those were all awesome jobs. Some of the things that I thought could be improved in your next evaluation, possibly going through what you thought maybe could be taking the speech to the next level. I think this helps the speaker understand what maybe they could use and really spruce up their speech. possibly talking about a more personal note that the speaker could have used. When you use an example that really resonates with the audience, I think this really helps people connect to the speech, and it really helps them have a takeaway. And possibly maybe talking about the conclusion, how the conclusion could have maybe been a more call to action. But overall, I think that you're a great speaker. You're a young speaker, so I really want to say you're doing a great job. You had a great evaluation, and we really enjoy your evaluation since you're the youth, and we can see that you're just exemplifying what we all want to be at a young age. Thank you again, and keep on going.
Thank you, Ken. Now is the time for a question and answer session with participants on how to create and deliver their second 5 to 7 minute speech in evaluation and feedback project. I request all the participants to enter their questions in the chat. This would be led by me with Ken and Lola. Lola, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, can you please turn on your video?
Yes, I'm turning on the video. All right.
Thank you. If we run out of time, answers can be emailed to the group. I request all the participants to write down the questions in the chat.
Ishra, could you possibly explain what the questions that you want people to ask again?
Okay, it is about the structure of the speech, how to incorporate the feedback, what they received in their first speech, and how to make the structure of the next speech incorporating that feedback into their speeches. It is like the version of their next improved speech.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any questions, please? If we do not have any questions, we can move the table around for the table topic. Please let us know. Okay, let me ask you, okay, how do you come up with some creative or interesting topics for your speeches? Ken, would you like to take a call on this?
Yes, thank you, Ishra. I find that when you are writing a speech, the best topic is something that you relate to. When you're giving a speech, people can really tell if you're interested in the topic yourself. That's the way that you're going to resonate with the audience, is that you have a true interest. You're showing energy. You're like, I love this. I can't wait to tell you about it. And that's really what we want to hear in a speech, is we want to hear that vocal variety. We want to see that movement. We want to see excitement and energy. Those are all things that really get the audience excited. And when you're writing a speech, that's something that you should be feeling when you're writing it. And I like to do, when I'm writing a speech, is actually put the types of inflections, the pauses, and the vocal variety that you're going to use in that speech right in the actual words if you write it out. I think that really helps you when you're practicing the speech and helps remember what you want to do to emphasize the speech.
Okay. Thank you, Ken. Okay, how do you add feedback into your next speech? Lola, would you like to take a call on this?
Sure. The question is, how do you add feedback?
Yes, into your next speech.
Yes, into your next speech. Well, part of that goes to a little bit what Ken said about how you draft your speech and how you write your speech. There are parts in your speech where you know that you want to ask a question or present a call for action. You know, a call for action, for example, is always a good one because it allows people to think, because you've given them something to think about, something that they should possibly take movement or action on. And that's one of the ways that you can get feedback. Another is to, I would hate to say be controversial, but find something interesting. find something interesting that you think your audience can grab a hold to. You know, if you're giving a speech and there's no place for the audience to jump in per se, then they are just going to listen to you give a speech. But if you give a speech with emotion and feeling, this allows your audience to have something to think about. So there are several ways that you can add feedback, but I would say the best way, the most easy way, is to just give a call to action or give people something to think about. Yeah.
Thank you, Lola. How do you differentiate between opinion, suggestion, and feedback? Ken, would you like to take?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
How do you differentiate between opinion, suggestion, and feedback?
Okay, so opinion, tradition, and feedback. Those are definitely different topics. So the opinion is something that you feel. I think that you have to bring in some of your own beliefs and feelings into a speech. If you don't, then it has no meaning. But I would be careful on topics that you want to stay away from. There's definitely 3 that they say to be very careful or not to use in a speech. That's religion, politics, and I guess sex or something too racy. Those are things that are very controversial and could bring the audience possibly some tension and something that you don't want to bring to your speech. So the other things, feedback, that's something very important to take heart. It's definitely a tough thing to give feedback and to receive feedback. So those are 2 different things that you really have to be comfortable with when you're at Toastmasters. But I think feedback, when it's given in a positive and meaningful way, that's really what you want to do when you give an evaluation. And that's something that you really should practice with and have a club that's supportive and able to guide you. So your mentor should really help you with giving positive feedback and something that is not directed at the speaker, but is something that I saw, I felt, and you always want to take it from your own standpoint and not directed at the actual speaker.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't hear that question. That question was, how do you give feedback? I thought it was, how do you get feedback? I'm sorry.
Oh, how do you
Thank you, Ken, for adding your feedback, but I thought it was, how do you get feedback?
Oh, I could have misinterpreted that too.
No, I think I did.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. I'll look at the chat.
Okay. Can you help us with the tips for good evaluation? Lola, would you like to take the call?
Yes, this question is tips for good evaluation. Thank you. Thank you for asking that question. There are several methods that people use in giving evaluations. Some people give evaluations based on what they hear, what they saw, and what they felt. You know, that's always a good combination. I give evaluations based on what I hear and what I feel. How did that speaker make you feel giving that speech? And of course you're looking for the basics, you know, the voice deflection, the pauses. You know, does it flow? Does it have a good opening, a middle, conclusion? So when you're evaluating, you want to look for those things, but you also want to be fair to the evaluator. I find that I'm a little more lenient with someone who is new to Toastmasters because we want them to feel confident. We want them to be able to be encouraged to give another speech. And if you're too harsh, and I know this, like, okay, Lola, we're not babies, but still, everybody has an ego. But if you're too harsh, sometimes that may discourage the speaker from stepping up and volunteering again. And when you have someone that's a accomplished speaker or someone who's done at least 10 speeches, then you can say, hey, I thought the speech was this or that. Here is room to grow. Or, you know, if that speaker is giving a speech where you thought they might have been able to use handouts or graphs or pictures, whatever that is. So I find that you give your evaluation based on who that speaker is and the content of their speech. That's really how you should do it, I feel.
Okay. There is one more question. Am I supposed to give my evaluation of project 2 to my evaluator when I do revise my speech? Can you offer any tips or advice on what a speaker should do if he or she does not have a physical written evaluation to give the evaluator? Ken, would you like to take?
Okay. I interpret this as a physical written evaluation to give the evaluator. I think that there are certain criteria that most speeches should meet, and that is something that if you don't have a formal evaluation, if I'm understanding this question correctly, that you can go by. You can look up on Toastmasters International and find a general evaluation of a speech. It should have, I'm looking at the evaluation right here, it should have definitely clarity, it should have vocal variety, it should have hand gestures, and it should be organized. Those are main things that you want to have in a speech. I think that you should strive to find the evaluation for that speech. I think that's important, though. I know sometimes in time crunches that you might not have it when the speaker is giving the evaluation, but you should always ask the speaker after you listen to the speech. You should take notes. One thing that I always do when I'm taking notes is that it's kind of hard to see right here, but I keep it very simple, and I have two different sides. I have on my left side the good things that I saw in the speech, the things that I heard, the things that I saw, and the things that I felt, very similar to what Lola said. And then on the right side of that paper, I write the improvements. And these are all things that I saw, I felt, and I heard that could enhance the speech. And that's really what you want to go through. I find it very simple to just keep it very easy for me to remember the good points and the improvements. And then after you're done listening to the speech, if you didn't have that evaluation, get the evaluation for that speech and then fill in the blanks. Find out what they were working on and really keep in on those points. And then you can give a proper evaluation after the fact. You can fill it out and then send it to the speaker. But I think that's important to really find out what their objectives were before or after.
Thank you, Ken. Lola, would you like to add something to it?
I think Ken was very accurate in his explanation of having an evaluation. Evaluation is key. You know, evaluation will also help not just the evaluator, but it also helps the audience when the objectives are given prior to the speech, because then the audience knows what they're listening for or what they should expect that speaker to cover based on their evaluation. And we do have that simple formula, as Ken and I just talked about, how you saw, how you felt, but it is important. And again, you can go to toastmasters.org, and or sometimes you can just Google evaluation for the speech, and you'll be directed pretty much almost to the form. So yeah, toastmasters.org, and then they can email that form back to you if they didn't have it ready for you at the end of your speech, and then you'll still be able to have your evaluation form.
Could I say one more thing? And that's great, Lola. But I know on people that are giving speeches and they're new to Toastmasters, it's kind of tricky to get those evaluations. But as you get more experience, that's really your job in giving a speech, is to have that evaluation and give that to your evaluator. So if that's not happening, you should really talk to your Toastmaster or talk to your club and really encourage that, because it's part of your job basically as a Toastmaster, and giving a proper speech is to have that evaluation again and give it to your evaluator.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Lola. One thing I can add to this question is always note down the points when evaluator is evaluating your speech. As we are doing the virtual meeting, sometimes we might miss the evaluation form that we have. It is very difficult to even send over sometimes, but when you write down your notes, you always have a copy of it, whatever they are speaking or whatever they are evaluating for. So always have one copy of yours, irrespective you get the evaluation form or not. Okay. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Lola, for answering the questions. I request all the participants who plan to speak next week, please share your pathway, project name and number, the timing of your speech too, and title of your speech as well, which must be emailed to me, that is ishrattoastmastersid@gmail.com, and Linda Patton by the end of next Sunday. Do you have any other questions for this session? No. Okay. We have more 7 minutes for our breakout room session to complete. Okay. My email address is ish, okay, let me write down. It's ishtrattoastmastersid@gmail.com. What speech are we give to the next week? Okay. Gail, can you please help me? Which speech had you given last week? Was that your icebreaker speech?
Yeah, I gave icebreaker building bridges last week.
Okay, so you will be giving your first speech in evaluation and feedback.
So it's a different speech.
Yes, it is a different speech.
Okay.
Okay, and if you can even use your icebreaker speech, but you need to add a couple more points because this speech is for 5 to 7 minutes. And please even add the feedback that you receive from your evaluator. That is an improved version of your icebreaker speech with more points.
I'm sorry, you just lost me. Is it a different speech or it's the same speech?
Okay, two things you can do. You can take a new speech, or you can give your icebreaker speech by adding a couple more points to it to make it 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and in that, you can even enhance it by adding the feedback of your evaluator.
Okay.
Okay, I have Kadisha says, I have project 2. I gave project 2, but I did not have any feedback. So do I write a new speech? No, Kadisha, you can give your similar speech. You might have received some feedback which you remember, so you can incorporate those feedback in your speeches and you can give the same speech. Any other questions do we have? Okay, so we have it's the time, it's like 7:38. How about having 1 or 2 table topic questions? Does anyone wants to volunteer for table topic session? Please turn on your videos. We'd love to see you. Hi, Zach. You're muted. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, would you like to volunteer for the table topic session?
Sure.
Okay. What does your joy look like today? What does your joy look like today?
What does my joy look like today? Well, I would have to say something that I've been doing for the last 30 plus years, and that is walking. I like to get up, and the first thing I do is I go walking, because that kind of helps me to clear my head, meditate, and just think about what I'm going to do the rest of the day and, you know, plans for the future. So my joy is walking, and I've been doing it so long until I got a few surprises the last couple of times that I walked. And one of those surprises was I was on a main street, and this guy was having like a mental breakdown, I thought, but I wasn't sure. But as I got closer to him, I could see that he was kind of flailing his hands and he was walking into the street. So I'm kind of pausing a little bit because I don't want to get too close to this guy. But it made me realize that if you're going to walk, you need something, some type of protection. So what I ended up doing is getting some pepper spray. I've never had anything like that, but I've never encountered anything like that. And it just kind of felt like real helpless to be out with nothing if somebody is coming at you or anything. So that's my joy, is walking, but also taking care to make sure that you don't run into things that can be harmful, that you can't get out of. Back to you.
Thank you, Sam. That was wonderful. Shabana, would you like to introduce yourself for about 1 to 2 minutes?
Yes, thank you, Shrat. Hi, my name is Shabana. I'm the CEO of Trident Consulting. I have been the CEO for about 10 years now. I am right now in Danville, California, where the weather is great, and you know it's the perfect setting these days. And I have one son. He is 26 years old, and I'm hoping to learn a lot from all of you. It's been great so far. I always feel that there's a lot that I can learn as to how I can communicate better. And being a leader and the CEO of a company, I feel it is very important to be able to communicate. So here I am, and I'm so glad that I joined the Toastmasters to learn from the experts. Thank you.
Thank you, Shabana. Coming to the table topic section, you need to speak for about 1 to 2 minutes. And I think it's perfectly okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Okay. I thought I heard 20 seconds. I'm not sure where.
1 to 2 minutes. That's okay. Okay. Joy, would you like to take a call and introduce yourself?
Me, Joe.
Yes.
Why not?
What are we doing?
Can you please introduce yourself, Joe?
Okay, sure thing. My name is Joe Dombleski. I come from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm currently in Beijing, China. I've been in Toastmasters for about 5 years now, 2 years in the United States, 3 years in, almost 3 years in Beijing, China. I'm actually returning to the Phoenix, Arizona area very soon. And I've been in a lot of basic officer positions except the presidency and the treasurer position. And I'm also a former U.S. Army soldier as well. That's just a little brief about me. And, well, back to you.
Thank you, Joe. Feng, would you like to introduce yourself? Feng Hong.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm actually just returning from the level 3 session, but I'm happy to introduce myself, no problem. My name is Fan Hong. I have been a Toastmaster for 9 years. I'm currently the VP of Education in Pitch Perfect Toastmasters. I'm also a member of San Rafael Raconteurs, which is a club I co-founded a couple of years ago. And so happy to be here. First time actually I'm joining this Speechcraft session and had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Feng. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of Level 1 breakout room. I think everyone is coming back. So it's a time for me to hand over the meeting control to Linda Patton, our Executive Director.
Thank you, Ishrath. It's so good to have you running this meeting for us. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. I have one team that's not back yet. All right.
Woo-hoo! We're back.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. So how did it go, everybody?
Awesome. We had a great breakout room.
Good.
Agreed. Very awesome.
Yes, it was so good to have you, John Martin.
Sorry, what was the statement?
I said it's so good to have you here, John Martin.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So we are at the place where we've got chocolate. And so I am looking for individuals. I'm sorry, somebody just asked me a question. Dear Linda, can we have recording? Yes. No, only the main room. The other rooms cannot be recorded. All right, so I've got a couple people who are locked and loaded. There you are. Okay. So, who would like to give us some takeaways from tonight?
I have a.
Yes, Lynn.
My takeaway is that it's a really valuable opportunity to use this meeting to do presentations. I urge everyone here to get in line because the leaders have made this so accessible. They'll make small groups so anyone who wants to talk can talk. And I've said this before, it's just a golden opportunity. We don't have to wait months after months to get on a platform with people. And because we've seen how important Zoom is in the culture now and how working virtually, I mean, these are skills I really encourage everyone to jump into. And do I find it always easy? No, but it's important. Thank you.
Oh, Lynn, thank you so very, very much. This is a really special time for me as well. I love the fact that I get to see other people presenting as well. So, are you ready for chocolate? There you go.
Woohoo! And Linda,
All right,
Linda,
thank you.
Misty says her video has been turned off by the host. I didn't even think that was possible.
Oh, yes, it is. And I have, oh, yeah.
I turned on everyone's video.
I'm sorry? Have you unmuted everybody's video?
Is Misty?
No, it's turned on now. Everyone can turn on their videos.
Misty as well, because she wanted to have her video on.
Yes.
Okay, Misty,
Yes,
and maybe
she
she has
can.
a takeaway to share. I don't know, Linda. You want to ask her?
So, Misty, do you have a takeaway for us?
Not really. I'm very new to your environment and listening and learning. I think it's a very interesting opportunity when you break into smaller groups because, as you say, people have an opportunity to speak under those circumstances. I think the evaluations that I heard today were interesting and could be improved. And I was thinking about the evaluation section and pathways that might be a topic that you bring to the group as a whole to really, based on what I saw. Again, limited view. Thank you.
Thank you, Misty. We actually had a plenary speech last week on the power of evaluation. So we took your advice to heart, and we will, look at our evaluators and give them some feedback. Thank you. All right. Anyone else?
Did she get a
wait minute.
virtual chocolate?
Misty, chocolate. Are you ready? Did you get it? Misty, did you get your chocolate?
No chocolates.
No chocolate.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Are you ready? You ready? Here it comes.
It's virtual and no sugar, no bad stuff.
Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Who else would like to give me a takeaway? And because we are in spotlight.
Well, I see Michelle's hand.
I got my hand up.
I'm sorry, who?
Michelle.
Michelle, go for it.
Well, I thought that the feedback in our group was amazing. We had one of the young people, what's that group, the youth group? She was
Youth leadership?
Yeah, youth leadership. She was excellent. And Sally Reyes had really, really good feedback that, oh yes, I should have done that. But who knocked it out of the park was Feng Hong. Oh my gosh, the extra stuff. And he evaluated the evaluators. And what I loved about what he said is that you actually want to end your evaluation with the strongest positive. That you don't, you look at what your positives are and the last thing you say is the strongest positive. And I love that idea. I think that's really excellent. Thank you, Feng.
Thank you so very much, Michelle. Yes, Ishra.
Yes, to add to Michelle, we had Archie, and I personally thought that Archie is someone who is like a grown-up person or an adult, and I was like, is he going to evaluate, and how can he evaluate? But when I heard his evaluation, I was mesmerized, I should say, totally. What a kind of evaluation he has done. I request everyone, once the video is on YouTube, go and check his evaluation. There are many good points that he has done, and we can learn a lot from them. Great job, kids. Great job.
All right.
And Linda, I personally say that for the next Speechcraft, your participants, everyone, rather than us, you approach youth leadership people. They will help you out for sure.
Absolutely. And Ishrath, here you go. Your chocolate.
Oh, thank you.
You're so very welcome. All right. So, all right, Michelle.
Oh, I am.
You are. Okay.
I am.
Thank you.
But who do you want? What's the problem? You want me to spotlight who?
I
The
don't.
person who's talking.
I don't want anybody spotlighted.
I haven't spotlighted anybody.
Okay, because I keep seeing individuals. So maybe maybe it's my fault.
Maybe you need to be spotlighted.
No, what I needed was gallery view so I could see people.
That's what you need, yes.
And that's what
yourself
I now
in
have.
Gallery.
All right, who else would like to give us feedback? Shabana.
Yes, thank you. I thought Cynthia's presentation was really good about, giving a pause when you are talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so important, especially for non-native speakers. We are always talking so fast, mostly because we want to just finish with what we are saying and things like that. So it was very useful, her speech on giving a pause. I think earlier on for us, it's good to have this advice. And I also thought Carolyn's speech was amazing with her gestures and the body language and with all the energy that she brought in. It was really a great learning experience. Thank you.
You're so very welcome. And it is now time for us to talk about final announcements and remind.
Oh, she gets chocolate.
You didn't get
chocolate, Shabana. Sorry, I pulled them away. Sandra, are you trying to say something? Or are you just waving?
Oh, I'm just trying to be supportive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Final announcements and reminders. We are doing this every Monday through August 31st. We have weeks 6, 7, and 8 left to go, and we are so excited about them. We have some really spectacular people coming up for our keynotes. Watch for the invitation. It'll tell you who is keynoting for us each of those weeks. Graduation is September 21st. And the International Conference Convention, which is free to all because it's virtual, and no, it does not impact Speechcraft because it finishes what, about 2 or 3 in the
3 hours before. Yep.
Right.
So you have time for food, a walk, and a nap.
Yes. So it is August 24th through the 29th. And I have put in the chat the link to the registration page. So please do register and attend. While we can't be in Paris, we can at least enjoy the speakers that they have planned because they look like they're going to be an absolute spectacular group of people. Okay, anything else, Cynthia?
One last thing is I'm not going to say who, but we're going to have, an international director for our, one of our speakers on graduation day. It's going to be a very ceremonious, beautiful day. You're not going to want to miss it. And we have a surprise. I'm not going to say who, but they're not a Toastmaster. And they're going to talk about storytelling. And they're nationally and internationally, even on a program that's national and international. So wait for that. It's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, it is rather exciting as to who's coming. So with that, the quote for this evening is from John Crosby. And he says, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. With that in mind, I say good night to you all, and we'll see you all next week. Don't forget to get your speech titles to your coordinators by midnight Sunday, or you will turn into a pumpkin. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.